ori din Iran. Trump, omul păcii, așa. Nu mă place Trump. Mâncați la cur. Omul păcii, așa e Trump.
extensive than they were originally. And that obviously increases the nervousness. People will be wondering whether, after dawn breaks, whether they'll be able to go to work, whether they'll be able to have food, whether the shops will be open, that kind of thing. And also, of course, whether this has just been a one-off, at least for the time being, or whether there might be another wave of attacks. And if so, obviously people have to be concerned about how good the aim is if clearly the targets have been military installations. The government in its communique just now did mention civilian, potential damage to civilian installations, but I've seen no confirmed reports of that. But obviously there's a considerable degree of nervousness on the part of a lot of people. Of course, there will be excitement over the idea that maybe this could be the end. This has been a very long struggle by opposition forces in Venezuela to try to oust Maduro by various means, mostly peaceful, mostly electoral. The government faced a very significant electoral threat in July of last year when President Maduro was up for re-election. And by all accounts and by all the documentary evidence that's available, he lost by a considerable margin and simply refused to lead. So a lot of people who've been hoping, keeping their fingers crossed that this is it, and that it was going to be a transition, it was going to be a peaceful one.
And Phil, I can just bring you some more of the Venezuelan government statement, which says that the strikes in Caracas aim to seize Venezuela's strategic resources, particularly its oil and minerals. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro signing and ordering this decree declaring a state of external commotion throughout the national territory. What does that mean?
I'd have to check the constitution. There are a number of different states of emergency, different categories of emergency that the government can invoke. Clearly, it would appear that on this occasion at least, they're justified in declaring an emergency. But precisely what it means, it has to be, borne in mind that, most constitutional guarantees, although they may be formally put in place in Venezuela, despite because the Constitution of 1999 was good, the Constitution was introduced under Hugo Chavez, Maduro's predecessor. That Constitution does say that there are certain guarantees, so the right to life, for example, that can't be suspended, whatever the emergency is. But de facto, the government suspended most rights, some time ago. It's exactly what the emergency is. I don't know. It's worth complementing actually that one or two journalists have been noting that the communique that the government put out is unsigned. And it was read on air by apparently a very junior official from the information ministry.
Au văzut că nu poate cu Iranul. Omul păce, omul păce Trump. Bă, să nu mai că vine nimic cu Trump, că scuipă în tăuci.
Phil Gunson, for the moment, really appreciate all of your analysis and insight. Thank you very much, but do stay with us. Well, our Central America correspondent Will Grant updated me about the situation from Washington.
We know so far that there's been this communique by the government.
Bine, la noi nu te poți uita la noi pe Soros TV și pe ce că de slugărnicie este la America, nu ești de lingi și curul și mai zice. Mai bine de aici pe BBC sau CNN, la noi când iau pe generale nu vreau să zic căcată, îți vine să-i
to an extent an element of Nicolas Maduro doing what one would expect him to do at this stage, which is an appeal to his socialist base. There is very little that they can actually do at this point because we still don't know exactly what the happened. Although
Haideți, fraților, să fim cât mai mulți. Dați-vă și dat, distribuiți peste tot.
very, very apparent that there is an escalation taking place, and it does now look like this is, a significant ramping up of the situation that's been unfolding for months.
And as you say, well, the reaction's starting to become clear. Growing escalations for some time between the two countries. This national emergency has now been declared in Venezuela. But how rattled do you think people in Venezuela will be feeling at the moment, knowing that this kind of action has now been taken?
Very, I think. I've been speaking to Venezuelan journalists this evening, and journalists based in Venezuela, and quite understandably they're concerned for themselves, for their families. They're speaking to a colleague of mine who saw me on video phone at the time and kept with the Lancet. She was quite close to La Carlota, which is a military airstrip in the very centre of Caracas. And she could see what's unfolding literally out of her window as it was happening. And she was contacting me with sort of live updates of what was happening. So she was also receiving from across the city, friends, family, and across social media, similar images which were backing up what she was seeing elsewhere in the city. So the sense of a coordinated event was very, very acute. So you can imagine how frightening that is for ordinary people. No matter whether or not they agree with it or they oppose it, this is still something that's unfolding in the capital city.
Sperăm că nu se va ajunge la ceva grav, că de aici se poate porni pe fraților o scânteie și izbucnea și altele la război mondial. Poate nu vă vine să credeți. Imediat.
US military action on a Latin American nation is something that's not happened since Panama in 1981.
And well, as you say, the situation is still unfolding. But give us a sense of the geography and where these explosions were heard, and that they were apparently close to some military bases. Is that correct?
Yes, so I mentioned La Carlota. That is an important military airstrip, which is right on a highway, really, right very much in the centre. But also targeted, or apparently identified explosions, was Fort 15, and that is the most important military base in Caracas, one of the most important military bases in the country. And the idea
E foarte, foarte periculos.
those bases being affected at the same time, and then the lights going out, electricity being knocked out to a whole series of communities around, as well as those bases themselves. Obviously, that has a real chilling effect on people watching it happen from their homes. And of course, Caracas is in a basin, it's a valley. So there are people up on the hillsides who can see all of this unfolding. There's unverified videos of planes going overhead at the same time. So you can imagine all of these things happening and targeted to those key points, as well as an area called La Guaira, which is close to the coast. Taking all of these different military important spots together gives it that sense of some important campaign. But again, it's too early to give confirmation of a lot of the detail that's coming out, particularly given the social media is such a player in Venezuela at a time like this.
And as you say, these explosions come at a time of heightened tension and angst between the US and Venezuela. Washington accusing Venezuela of allegedly carrying drugs on its boats. Talk us through kind of how much of a build-up
Haideți, fraților, băgați o abonare.
that's got us to this really delicate point.
Well, it's the
Exact ce vă spuneam când veneam. Ori în Iran, ori aici.
It's huge, and it has been for weeks on end. It's been a very, very significant military naval build-up. At one point, Michael Rubio, Secretary of State, said, we move military assets all over the world. Why do people go so mad when we do it in the Americas? Well, the answer is, of course, because it's the Americas. Because it's continental America. That alone makes this very, very difficult to move military assets elsewhere. But beyond that, of course, it came with actual actions. First, the airstrikes on go-fast boats, speedboats that were allegedly carrying drugs through Venezuelan waters. That became extended to also the use of Two, about how US forces have confiscated sanctioned oil tankers. Two of those have been confiscated, with a third being pursued. And then both of those, as President Trump made reference to the first land strike, we have very few details about that. But the details of that, we at the BBC and others were looking into the witnesses.
Da, din păcate, fraților, mă și eu face pe Facebook. Ce mai zice unii și alții.
Saying that it has heard from US officials that President Donald Trump ordered those strikes to be carried out. Well, let's return to the International Crisis Group senior analyst in Venezuela, Phil Duncan. Phil, thank
Haideți,
you
fraților,
for
cât mai mulți.
Let's see if we can find out a little bit more detail now about Venezuela's reaction to this, because we have had a statement which mentioned their reaction. Just talk us through what that states.
De ce scrie prietenul meu? Eu vă spun, nebunul ăsta de Trump dă foc la lumii, bă. O să vedeți. Parcă, nu știu,
I think the interesting thing is that although we've seen this reports of this decree of emergency being declared by President Maduro, this is a moment at which you would, if you were certainly you were on the government side, you would want the government and perhaps the military high command, to be on air, to be reassuring people that they're still there, that they're still in control, they're still in command. And really what we've seen so far has been, it's very much seemed improvised. The communique seems to be dashed off. It's not signed by anybody in particular. It was read by a junior official on air. So that's not reassuring people who on the government side who reject this attack by the US, if that's what it is.
And what options does the Venezuelan government have? So if we look at what they said in that statement, one of the things they said was the entire country must mobilize to defeat this imperialist aggression. That was a quote from their statement. What resources does Venezuela have to fight back against this?
On military level, it's really impossible for the Maduro government to resist. The big fear, according to military analysts, of US forces when contemplating this kind of intervention was air defenses. But it does appear that either those air defenses were neutralized or they didn't work. There doesn't appear to be, as far as we know so far, of course it's early days, but there doesn't appear to have been any response from the ground. Certainly no aircraft have been shut down so far. So that suggests that that the military is not capable of resisting in any way at all. Although on paper the Venezuelan military is one of the strongest in the region, they do have
Sper să vedeți să-și ia americanii bot. Atât ar mai trebui să bombardăm, să înceapă acolo în Iran cu Israel război și Dumnezeu. Și China, Taiwan și
she said that there's now silence in the city, but everyone is still frantically messaging each other to see if they're okay. She also adds that a relative of hers saw something falling from the sky and 10 seconds later saw and heard a boom. So that's just one of the examples of the eyewitness accounts coming through from the region, and you can keep up to date with those on the BBC Live page and of course by following us here on BBC News. So let's speak now to Francisco Rodriguez, who's Senior Research Fellow at the Centre for Economic and Policy Research at the University of Leicester. Thank you for joining us. So what do you think is the reaction that's likely to come from, not just from the Venezuelan government, but what further action can follow from the White House?
Deci ce se întâmplă? Ține leacă și închide. Din ce se întâmplă pe parcurs, urmărim. Vedem. Nici n-am intrat în 2026 și ne pornim cu război. Și amarul de nebun. Tâmpiți și Trump și toți ăștia. La război li treabă. Nu. Ce părere aveți aici? Unul zice că ar fi pentru să securăm împotriva Hezbollah și a Iranului.
Preferences can change a lot in the context of this type of conflict because, for example, U.S. President Donald Trump has now explicitly said that the condition that he's imposing on the Maduro government is that Venezuela return what Donald Trump calls
Bine, eu știu care e Iranul, bază militară și rachete balistice, să știi, pe cine cercetează. O vedea.
So I think that while the evidence that we have up until now is that the majority of Venezuelans are against Maduro, the situation can still be very fluid, and definitely military actions like this can rally nationalist sentiment.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how
change after this strike action? Well, thank you so much, Francisco Rodriguez. Do stay with us for the moment as we will return to you as the situation continues to develop. But let's speak now to our correspondent.
No, cam atâta, prieteni.